Hi everyone, welcome to SDGC. This is our Devil May Cry 5 review impressions and spoiler talk. This is Derek, and I'm here with Brandon and Justin. What's going on, guys?
What up, dude?
How's it going?
This is surprisingly chill. So, dude.
Especially in the context of Devil May Cry.
Well, that's true. That's fair.
All over the top, turned up to 11.
I know. So, I am curious, kind of where everybody, all three of us have beaten the game, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm kind of curious where everybody's like level of familiarity with Devil May Cry was before playing 5. Brandon, I know you had said you were a longtime series fan.
Yeah,
right?
It was the first. So when I bought my PlayStation 2 in 2001, the only games I got with it were Zone of the Enders with the MGS2 demo and a pre-order on the original Devil May Cry. That was it. So I started right from like day one.
Yeah, Justin, now I don't really know for sure where you stand on this.
So I got into the series when the HD collection came out on PS3. So this is kind of a weird one for me because DMC came out shortly after that.
Yeah, that was like what, 2012 or so?
Something like that.
2013, I think. It was 2012, 2013. I can't remember.
Right around when DMC came out, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like the summer before DMC. So I kind of marathoned the original trilogy. And then I picked up DMC at launch.
DMC 2 is really short, right? You can beat that one in like 3 or 4 hours.
Thank God.
Yeah, and then I played...
I've never played it.
Don't. Yeah.
Exactly. My experience with DMC2 is weird because like Capcom didn't market it at all when it was like a new game, and the first I ever heard of it was the bad reviews.
It was such a weird thing, but yeah. So I played the original trilogy. Then I played DMC at release. Then I played the definitive edition of DMC when that came out. The Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition when that came out this gen. And so like this is the first numbered Devil May Cry that has come out since I've been into the series.
Okay, but you did get into it before 5. You just got in with the HD collection.
Yes.
Is there any of the games that any of us haven't played? I know, Brandon, you said you haven't played 2.
Just 2, because I knew to stay away.
Good.
Which, by the way, let's talk about how amazing the mention of 2 is if you watch the like
that 6-minute preview video.
So in Devil May Cry 5, there's like an option on the menu for like history of Devil May Cry for new players.
They also put that same video on their YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
The Devil May Cry 2 one is literally just demons attacked again, yeah. Dante stopped them.
Yeah. And then
that's it.
Moving on to Devil May Cry 4.
That's all you need to know. Although I do hope and wish that like Lucia would come forward into the modern games, because I think that you could do that without having the baggage of 2 attached. But I mean, that's a whole nother
It pretty much would be like rebooting her.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, not that there's much like character continuity in the series anyway. Like,
right.
What does Trish in 5 have to do with Trish in 1?
Right. I mean, Trish ever since the original, which really just is in 4 and then 5.
Just there.
She's just like part of the crew at this point. Like they've turned Devil May Cry into kind of like a band.
The gang's all here. Yeah, definitely, big time.
So like,
Trish especially with the van. I mean, now that they travel,
now that they got the van, yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Trish is just the bass player, is what she is. Like, but okay. So all of us have played a lot of Devil May Cry before. All of us love the series. So I want to, I guess,
just the whole genre in general. Like,
although I mean,
all the Platinum games, Metal Gear Rise,
very little tickles the same place that Devil May Cry does. But I mean, character action games in general.
That HD collection was actually, because I had always been put off by everybody saying how hard a lot of character action games were.
Specifically, like Ninja Gaiden 1 and Devil May Cry 3.
Yeah.
So like that had always put me off. So. I decided to give it a shot with that HD collection, and that was kind of like when I got into the genre. So I've played quite a few since then, but like that was kind of my jumping off point.
Gotcha. So I figure what we'll do is we will start by talking about kind of the game in a more general sense, spoiler free, what we liked, what we didn't like, what worked, how it made us feel, and then we can move at the very end to some mild spoiler discussions about some of the stuff that happens over the course of the game, or just some stuff that can't be spoken about without revealing some plot stuff. So I just want to say, and I'm curious if you guys feel the same way. my feelings about Devil May Cry 5, that opening credits bit where they actually play the opening credits to Devil Trigger and the van's flipping through midair in slow-mo, there was an awakening moment there.
that scene might be just one of, if not my favorite cutscene ever. Like, it was so good.
That made me fully realize, like, oh shit, Devil May Cry is really back. Because I don't like to constantly sling shit at DMC, the reboot, but that opening cutscene was everything I love about Devil May Cry that was absent from that reboot attempt. And it's kind of the silliness and the energy. I mean, it's a slow motion credits crawl as the dude dances around in slow-mo in midair across a tumbling van, and then, you know, Nico in the van, like, reaching out with her mouth to pluck the cigarette out of midair.
And it's all in real time.
Yeah,
like that shit would have been pre-rendered last gen. It looks so good.
I know.
And, like,
the
all in
RE
slow
engine.
motion. Like, you can see every detail all in slow motion.
Like, I think that's probably where we should start off with the graphics talk, right?
Yeah, because that's one of the first things that hit me is it's a beautiful game.
Mind-blowing real-time graphics.
Like, this game looks insane, and it's running at 60 FPS.
Higher than that. I mean, I was 60 FPS on console. That's another question. How did everyone play it?
Up to snuff, yeah, for sure.
Like,
how did everyone play it?
I played it on PS4 Pro.
Okay.
Yeah, PC.
I was also PC.
Max settings, 144 frames.
Yeah.
The good stuff.
Like this game, like on consoles, this game's pushing a high resolution for each console that it runs at. Gameplay runs pretty smoothly at.
It's native 4K on Xbox One X and reconstructed.
It's reconstructed 4K.
On Xbox One X?
On Xbox One X, it's reconstructed 1800 on Pro.
Oh, okay. But it's keeping it 60 frames even on like the base consoles, correct?
Yeah, the Xbox One S has a little bit of issues, but it's still running very high 50s. But
they're still going for 1080p on both base consoles, right?
Yeah, it's native on the base PS4 and reconstructed 1080p on the Xbox One.
Okay.
I mean, that's insane. And this game is so... I mean, the real-time faces on this... I've seen comparisons where they take, like, a screenshot of a character from Devil May Cry 5... and then compare that to like a pre-rendered CGI movie.
Yeah, Digital Foundry used Advent Children.
Yeah, they used Advent Children.
And Devil May Cry broadly looks better in a lot of ways,
Way better, yeah. Except for like the hair. Like they mentioned the hair, aliasing the hair. Obviously.
And hair is always going to be a difficult thing to do in real time. So, but I mean, Capcom, the RE engine is a monster for being able to make this game.
Yeah.
And the particle effects are insane too, especially like in some of the boss fights, like, and the fact that they can handle like some of these just gigantic screen filling particle effects and still run smoothly.
All of these particles and splashes and like energy effects, and it's all very pretty and very flashy and very stylish. You know, everything about all of the menus and the interface elements are constantly moving, from stuff like when you're playing as Nero and you rev the sword and you have the motorcycle exhaust pipes up in the corner that rev up and start to glow, like, which that's not really a technically difficult thing so much as it is an attention to detail and style that is just I think is very, it permeates the entire game.
Yeah, I was talking to my roommate and I said, like, I've never seen a game that tried so hard to make like it look like it doesn't give a fuck and that everything's effortless.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, definitely. And it also helps that having Dante as a character, because that's always been his persona.
Yeah.
That laid back.
He's not even trying. This is just what he is.
He's just a demonic force.
Yeah, it helps that I thought that the performances broadly were really, really good. There's some points where lip motions don't match up very well.
Yeah,
and then there's parts where it matches up like perfectly, so I got kind of thrown off by that stuff.
I know there's some issues with like desync in some of the cutscenes on PC.
There's also that.
Oh, okay.
I didn't run into that problem, thank God, but I know who did. It was Matt. Right?
Yeah, I think Maddie was saying he got it pretty
And
bad.
it's apparently it's the same. If you have the problem in Resident Evil 2, you will have the problem in Devil May Cry. And I didn't have the problem in either.
Okay, I must not have had the problem in either one.
It's
then.
weird. Yeah, it's a weird issue.
Yeah, that's a weird PC only issue, but
I thought like the voice performances were really good. I thought a lot of the general acting was really good.
See, I don't even mind Nico's accent. I mean,
Nico's accent is bullshit, but that's okay.
It's silly, but
it's a caricature.
Yeah, it's not a real accent.
It's Devil May Cry.
Nothing about the game is real. It doesn't take place.
Do you think do you think Johnny Young Bosch sounds like Nero 24/7? No, it's this overly breathy, he sounds like a fucking anime character, and he's supposed to.
I really liked Nero in this game, by the way. I thought his performance, I thought in particular, really stood out.
The performance was good. Yeah,
JYB is a top tier voice actor. So
they pushed the what was it? The thing Dante says to him at the beginning that he
the dead weight.
Dead weight. I feel like they pushed that dead weight thing
a little hard.
Yeah,
but he's a kid with a chip on his shoulder, so I kind of get it.
I get it.
But I think the game's beautiful. I think the soundtrack of the game kicks all kinds of ass. I know one thing that everybody obviously loved Devil Trigger, but Dante's battle theme that got a lot of hate.
It works in the game. For sure.
I think it works better. Well, and I think the new vocals work better.
I didn't even realize they were new.
Yeah, I think the new vocal track helped a lot. They're not even hugely different. They're just they're basically just slightly cleaned up, and I thought it just sounded a lot better.
It's a little more traditional metal to me than it's a little less screechy, and I think that I don't know, that's always been Dante's kind of style. I mean, you listen to the Devil May Cry 3 battle theme, and I mean there's a lot of screaming and growling in that, and you just accept if that's not your kind of music, that's oh, okay, but that new vocal track just works a lot better for me. But everything about the presentation I loved. But presentation aside, Devil May Cry, games like this live and die on their gameplay. Now, how did you guys feel about combat in general?
Brandon, how about you go ahead first?
Yeah, it's a little inconsistent because of the 3-character system, which obviously, Devil May Cry 4 took it to the 2 characters. So they make meaningful additions to Dante and Nero, and then obviously V is the new character, and he has a different playstyle from any other action game, sort of.
Yeah, I've played kind of arena fighters with characters like him, where the main guy is supposed to stay back and his attacks just make other characters fight. But yeah, the new character V having this very summon focused, stay back and let the other guys do the work, and he only has to pop in to finish them off.
Yeah. I feel like everyone sort of has the same opinion on him. He's sort of like the easy mode. You just mash X
spammy,
and Y, and you get SSSs all over the place.
Yeah, and when they turn gray purple, you lock on and hit B, and he teleports in and finishes them off. So, but I mean, it was a nice breakup.
It's a variety. I mean, it's a cool variety. I just don't feel like maybe it has the depth of it, but they put Dante in the game for depth.
Yeah, I was gonna say you still have Dante and Nero, who are just tremendously deep
Nero has
characters.
plenty of depth himself. The Devil Breakers, that's his big new mechanic from 4.
Yeah, the new arms. The only thing I didn't like about the Devil Breakers,
can't switch mid-combat.
Yeah, you can't switch them. The only thing you can do is you can break them and move to the next one in line, and if you pick one up, then you automatically equip it and it goes on top of the
That
stack.
is one of those mechanics that people right now people are saying why can't you do it, and then people are saying because it would break the game this way, it'd break the game that way. But you know what, it's one of those things. When Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition comes out, you will be able to switch your Devil Breakers with the D-pad straight up.
I don't think that the Devil Breakers break combat anywhere near as much as, for example, the ability to max out the exceed gauge after almost any attack.
Every attack,
if your timing is good. That's by far one of the most broken abilities you can get as Nero, and I think
you get a style rank for every hit.
Yeah, and then I think 90% of people, as far as I can tell that I've watched, seem to not do a good job of really even playing with Nero's rev up gauge.
Because I remember when I first started playing Devil May Cry 4, it took me a long time. I was pressing the left bumper after every attack right from the beginning with 5, but I remember playing a lot of 4 without ever doing it.
Yeah,
that's something I'm kind of trying to train myself on my current playthrough to do more.
Yeah. Now, so like I said, Nero obviously has gotten some meaningful adjustments from 4, where not only does he have, you know, the ability to do aerial combat out of the gate, which, you know, Dante traditionally isn't as good at, and thank God he still has the actual grapple hook grab.
Yeah, so
Yes.
we might as well, in case anybody's unfamiliar, how Nero works in this game. In Devil May Cry 4, he had a demon arm, and it's a major story beat that he loses that arm in 5.
Very
And so it
early,
gets
like opening cutscene early.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
missing it from the moment he shows up.
Yeah,
and they
he's
just
missing it when he
explain-
shows up, and then in like the prologue section, and then you get the flashback to what happened, like in the first mission. So he had Nico, who is basically Nero's Q, who drives the van at this point.
Yeah.
Has developed a bunch of robot arms.
The
that he
crazy
can
Southern
use.
lady you either love or hate.
She is pure love or hate. There's no
Yeah.
middle ground
Yeah.
with Nico.
So like he has those are the devil breakers that we're talking about.
Yes. And so he's got that is his new mechanic, and that stacks on top of still having the grapple that he had before, still having the Exceed gauge where he can rev up the handle of the sword and power up his attacks.
And he unlocks a spoiler mechanic after you beat the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we'll talk about it more when we get into the spoiler stuff, but like replays with Nero feel very different because you get to take some new abilities that you don't unlock till the very end.
He has
with
so
you.
many different mechanics layered on top of each other, which
Yeah.
is kind of a good contrast to Dante, who Dante really only has a very basic like concept of a moveset. Like you have style switching, except for the fact that you can change
gun
between
switching and sword switching.
swords
That's
and
a lot.
guns, you know, and it's a matter of where you take a base concept of you have 4 styles to swap between that basically adjust how one button works, but then you've also got all these different weapons to juggle on top of that you can combine in any number of different ways. And it's like Dante offers you this, instead of being a bunch of different mechanics layered on top of each other, he's one concept that spreads super far in every direction.
You
for
can't
however
button
want him
mash
to be.
with Dante.
No.
He won't do anything.
It won't do anything. Like
But you have to like think about what moves you're doing.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting because I think a lot of people who are not very familiar with Devil May Cry get to start with Nero, who I think is very approachable on a base level, and then they end up with Dante, and Dante, in all but his Swordmaster style, cannot sustain attacks in the air. So for a lot of people, they're going to maybe get used to trying out these flashy aerial combos and then realizing they have to reapproach everything as Dante in a way that, like, I don't think V deprograms you. Right? Because V is very simple, so it's very easy to get to his sections and just move through them. But with Dante, you have to deprogram yourself from Nero.
I agree.
To be good with him.
Yeah, and like V I think V is a really good addition just for like new players because he shares a lot of the same inputs as Dante and Nero for doing a lot of the attacks, but isn't, so much up in the middle of everything like they are. But you don't play as him until like a third of the way through the game for the first time.
Yeah.
Dante is like straight up half. It's like mission.
Dante's
And when Dante
10,
finally shows up, it's like this beautiful, like, yes, it's good to play as him again, but whether you, I wonder how this is for people who have not been playing a lot of Devil May Cry, because for me, getting that cutscene where you're coming into the Devil May Cry offices and, Dante's kicked back in the chair.
Oh yeah, that's a great cutscene.
And him kind of chatting with
when
Morrison.
the power is out and everything.
Yeah, that whole big cutscene, to me, it was I'm falling in love with this guy all over again. And I don't see how you can experience that cutscene and not just be like, oh, this is the coolest motherfucker on the planet.
I mean, this game,
like just the whole concept of Dante like running a demon hunting business is very cool, and I feel like the series kind of got away from that a little bit. I mean, Devil May Cry 3 made a big deal because it's Dante's origin story, and it was a big deal in 1, but like in 4 and 5, so they didn't mention like Devil May Cry, like
at all in
business.
4.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly, in 4.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see that come back in 5.
There's that cutscene of them being at the office and leaving briefly, but they don't really mention that it's a business. They don't have like a gig going on. It's just kind of like, what's up? We're the Scooby-Doo gang, and we show up and solve mysteries.
Yeah, I like that they bring that back a little bit.
Yeah, like this game in a lot of ways really does feel like a love letter to the fans of Devil May Cry, and it's not also just focused on specific parts that people might have specific nostalgia for. It really seems like a love letter to all of Devil May Cry, except for 2.
Yeah. And I think every piece of like fan service that's in there, like they found a good way to fit it in, and it works, rather than being like, okay, we had to reference this. So
and I think the 3 character system also is neat because each character is very distinct from one another. Each character kind of caters to entirely different play styles and skill levels. So I think no matter whether you're somebody that like does style contest stuff, or you might just be like starting off with the series, like
you can feel good.
You could, like, there's plenty of stuff in this game for you to feel good and have fun with and look stylish doing, which I do really appreciate.
You can get D ranks and still feel good.
Yeah, and like also this game kind of approaches difficulty, I think, a bit differently than some of the other games. Because your first playthrough is only going to be on human or devil hunter. So, it's not like super taxing for that first playthrough. And I'm going through on Son of Sparta now, and that really kicks things up.
That's the way to play, but you've got to have played the game. You have to know the enemies and know your character to make it through that.
It basically remixes every encounter. It's like there's enemies popping up way earlier. There's different numbers of enemies. Boss fights feel very different.
And that's the right way to do it. Instead of just making you attack the same enemies just more times than you did on the previous difficulty, like they really make it worth, another playthrough. Yeah,
like so it kind of like it breaks some of the monotony of like replaying, and it really feels like the first playthrough is okay, I want to see the story, I want to watch these fun cutscenes, and I want to learn how these characters play. And then it feels like if you go on the second playthrough on a higher difficulty, it feels like, okay, now I need to get good.
Yeah, I wouldn't say a first playthrough is a tutorial, but it's a primer.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
And it's not going to be, despite the series' like reputation for being really difficult, even going straight to Devil Hunter, I don't think is really that hard.
I mean, even by Devil May Cry series standards, Devil Hunter is not difficult.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think people who are new to these kinds of games can jump in. The human difficulty doesn't like talk down to them, so it doesn't make you feel like you're playing on baby mode. But like, regardless,
sorry, not to say that it's baby mode or anything. There is an assist mode if you're not able to or don't want to learn combos and stuff. There is an automatic assist mode. For those that was
right there from Devil May Cry 1, because in 2001 I played DMC1 on easy automatic difficulty.
Yeah, so that's still in there, but that's not forced on you on human. Like if you wanted to play on human just to learn the basics, you can absolutely do that. So there's a lot of options for difficulty on top of stuff, which is very cool.
I will also say I appreciated the bosses. I think all the bosses, for the most part, were pretty well designed and pretty fun to fight.
There's a lot of them,
with the exception of
there's like almost one boss per level.
I think Malphus was the only one that I really fought that I thought was maybe not a very well designed boss to me.
And they were still fun, but they weren't as fun as the others.
Yeah, I felt like that was maybe the one that had the least actual opportunities for me to do cool stuff like parry or use the boss's abilities against them.
That was that's the lady chicken, right?
Yeah. Towards the end.
Towards the end,
plot relevant or anything, just one of the later bosses. But and there's some good like fan service bosses that will make fans very happy. The
I
other
mean,
thing I'll
even
say,
like V's summoned pets are.
oh yeah, they're
two
Shadow
of
and
the
Griffin and
bosses
Nightmare.
from Devil May Cry 1.
Two of the bosses and then one of the mini bosses from Devil May Cry 1.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's there's a ton of little fan service moments in there. Story-wise, I don't know about you guys, I felt like it was a very simple and basic story. It's everyone's been joking that it's just Dragon Ball Z, the Tree of Might, but in Devil May Cry form.
I mean, like the story is you're climbing a tree to kill a demon.
Yeah,
there's a
like-
tree
There
that's
is no
going to make a
setup
fruit.
for this plot whatsoever. It's
There's a
just-
tree that's sucking people's life that's going to make a fruit that's going to turn the demon into super powerful. It's literally the Tree of Might, but like drenched in a little bit of DMC lore.
Flair. Yeah.
But I think it was told well. And I think where a lot of reviewers were talking about, they thought it was a really good story. I think the way I would maybe specify it is like it was a simple story. It was told well. Like every time characters got to interact.
I mean,
like,
I wasn't reaching for the escape key in any of the cutscenes. Like, they were
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Like
Yeah,
I
no,
liked watching the
there's-
characters try.
There's way more cutscenes than you would expect for a Devil May
They
Cry
were
game.
quite, yeah, quite. I
In-
feel like actually the series has always been cutscenes.
The series has had a lot of cutscenes, but like this one
People
seems
don't think that though, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't. They think of them as very story-like games, but they're
Yeah,
because
because like even in like DMC 1, like you're going from room to room. Like you go from every room had a cutscene, like Dante like impaling himself on Rebellion and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about. Okay,
That's like right in the beginning of the
But
game. There's cutscenes all over the place.
yeah, but I really enjoyed watching the cutscenes in this one.
They're
I
well
thought they were
paced. They don't overstay their welcome.
yeah,
And
and
they're-
good performances help that a lot. So
yeah, good performances. They're well directed too. I really enjoyed like especially the ones with action scenes and some of the sillier moments and stuff. Those were all very well done, and I enjoyed watching every
Yeah.
single one of
It
them.
was- I laughed. There were some funny scenes
Yeah.
in this game.
oh, there's one in particular that'll have to be part of the spoiler. Well,
I mean, it's
no,
like
no,
literally the very end.
the very end one
Yeah.
had me
like right before the
rolling,
ending
dude.
credits.
Like,
There's
rolling.
a very good scene.
Fuck.
I won't I won't talk about the specifics of that scene, but like that one was so like the way those two actors were even playing off of each other for that scene was like one of the better comedy scenes I have seen in a
Yeah.
It's
game.
a great rapport
agree.
between
It
the
was
two.
it was a legit good bit that was well executed and well acted.
Yeah.
All right, so we don't have a ton of time left, but I want to go to the spoilery section to talk about some of the stuff that happened. Really, the only major plot stuff that happens is right at the end of the game, to be honest. But so if you have not played the game or you've not beaten the game, I do highly recommend that you do so before you come to this part. But if spoilers don't bother you, then press
Like
ahead.
the plot kind of meanders and it does a lot of flashbacks for like 15 missions and then it all kicks
Yeah.
off in like
And
the
the
last
big twist, so the big twist obviously is that the Demon King is Virgil and V is Virgil.
How many characters in Devil May Cry start with the letter V?
Yeah, we have
Like if you don't know
one.
who V is, you just haven't thought about it. Like,
Vante.
Yeah, no, it's so funny how they tried to pretend that was a secret. Cause like I remember the initial trailer was like, "Who's this mysterious guy in a hood?" And I'm like, "Okay, this is gonna be the big bad for this game." And then
Yeah, he takes Nero's arm and takes Yamato away and says, "I'm taking this back." It's obviously Virgil.
yeah, like the fact that in the very first this is a mission 1, like end of mission 1 or start of mission 2 cutscene where you see him take the arm of Nero, and then it turns into his signature weapon, and then he does one of his signature moves to teleport out of the area, and then they
and it's
still
his
act like,
very distinctive voice.
it would only be a real plot twist to someone who is coming into 5 as their first game in the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would
Now,
be,
I will say that I wasn't 100% sure how V was connected to Virgil. I was thinking maybe like another kid or something, but
I was hoping they wouldn't go as obvious with it as
yeah. But so him literally just being the human half of Virgil after he like splits apart, and then he rejoins in the end, and we finally, for the first time since the end of Devil May Cry 3, which is the origin point of the series, have like a complete whole living Virgil again, back in the world of Devil May Cry.
No more Nero Angelo.
Yeah, and I guess
Or
he's
Nilo,
just
what was it? Nilo?
Nello Angelo.
Nello Angelo, yeah. And I guess he's just a fucking good guy now, kind of?
Kind of, even though he killed a lot of people in this game.
But then again, so did
Yeah, he's
so
not
did
very
Vegeta.
happy. He's not a very happy person at the end of the game either. Like,
He's kind of like the Vegeta of Devil May Cry at this point.
yeah, basically they just want an eternal.
He's a terrible
battle between
person,
Dante
but
and
like
Virgil. They just want to fight forever.
Yeah, but at this point they've turned it where he's clearly like, look, I'm not trying to end shit. I just really want to fight Dante.
Yeah, they just like fighting. They just want an eternal battle.
And I guess kind of because they separated him out into like the demon half and the human half, and like V was, you know, kind of regretful of stuff and everything. It kind of excuses
because
Virgil
he was weak.
Yeah, kind of excuses Virgil himself.
Kind of.
Once he got his power back, he wasn't apologetic anymore.
Yeah.
But
yeah, by the end, once you've done the final fight, like Dante and Virgil are teaming up as battle brothers, you know, to destroy the tree, and like I guess that's our status quo from here out.
Maybe like 2 or 3 chapters.
It did feel like it ended just a little. I would have liked, but I mean, like the character story is over. If there's no other big boss, like how much fun would it be to be like, oh yeah, now we're gonna go fight a bunch of generic demons you've already fought and break some
exactly. Like when you have Virgil as the final boss, the game has to end there.
Yeah.
I understand.
And you fight him 2 missions in a row too.
I mean, basically,
but that second one, that the final mission where you get to be Nero and finally use Devil Trigger, and you have an unlimited Devil Trigger gauge, and you can just unload on him. Like
it's so much fun.
It's very cathartic.
The soundtrack was good for that fight.
Yeah,
the soundtrack was really good. That was the like remixed version of Devil Trigger. Right?
It's called Silver Bullet.
Yeah,
it's
and what was the motorcycle boss fight?
The Cavalier.
Cavalier Angelo.
Cavalier Angelo.
Yeah, that was a really good.
When the soundtrack gets ripped, like I've been looking on YouTube and they still don't have any soundtracks up.
Yeah.
But I want to hear those rips.
Yeah, that final mission 20 also had just such an awesome description. Like there will be no fratricide this day.
Yeah. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, like it's
PC load times are too quick to read the description.
No, honestly, with an SSD, it was like less than a second. I never read any of the tips.
Yeah, it's like a description about how, you know, Nero's power has fully awakened and he, you know, needs to get between his 2 family members. And then just the last line is, there will be no fratricide this day.
I just needed them to throw in that the gamers have risen, and honestly, it would have been completed. But
yeah, like, so
this is a really weird status quo for us to be at for whatever comes next. Virgil has been this kind of like sword of Damocles hanging over our heads for so long, and he's back and taken care of.
11 years.
Yeah, well, that too. But now he's just.
Can you imagine like Devil May Cry 6 in 2030?
Please no. Please.
I can't believe it was 11 years between 4 and 5. Like,
yeah.
Like the end really did kind of feel like passing the baton off a bit to Nero. However, Dante and Virgil are still around.
Yeah.
Kind of.
They're just going to keep doing what they've done with 4 and 5, where you start as Nero and you move on to the people that are like you're deeply in love with. But one last thing.
I don't think Dante would be a playable character in a DMC6.
Yeah. One last,
like after you beat the campaign.
Yeah. One last thing I want to hit up before we have to cut out of here. Is we recently they had the announcement of Bloody Palace mode is coming as a free update. For those of you who don't know, Bloody Palace is basically like an endless survival mode.
It's like 100 levels of increasingly challenging enemies.
Yeah, and it's just hey, I want to sit down and
are mixed in there, and
and you can pick any of the characters, and it's good post game content, and it's really hard.
Just straight up,
and
no level design, just fight.
Yeah, just kill shit. And I think that's a really cool thing for them to do because traditionally that's the kind of thing that would be hidden behind a special edition. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, right? That's always been a special edition upgrade.
I think initially
series to have it.
Was it 3 that was the first one to have it?
I think
it was 3, but kind of since then it's been a
okay. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Oh wait, hold on. Devil May Cry 2 had a Bloody Palace.
That's why I don't remember.
That's why.
So Devil May Cry 2. There's 9,999 floors.
That's a waste of effort for that game.
So Devil May Cry 3 Bloody Palace was available in the SC, but not the original. It also has 9,999 floors. And
I think they said the 5 one is 100 floors.
DMC4 had 101 floors, and 5 will be 100.
Yeah. But,
and people did do some data mining, and in Bloody Palace stuff, there's also
Virgil
mention
will be a
of
playable character apparently.
Virgil playable. So
which
Yeah.
is exciting because
Oh, that's
Virgil's always a
that'll
ton
be
of
some
fun to
DLC
play.
for sure. Yeah.
The fact that he wasn't in Devil May Cry 4's special edition, right? Didn't he only get added down the road?
I think he got added into the. I think there's 5 playable characters in the 4 SE.
Yeah, but I thought Virgil only got added to the remaster. I thought it was just Trish and Lady that got added for special edition originally, or unless I'm drunk.
I didn't even know Trish and Lady were in it.
There wasn't a special edition until the remaster.
Okay.
So the remaster initially added. So initially it was just Dante Nero. They added in Virgil, and then they also added in Trish and Lady.
Okay, I've got my timeline all messed up on that then.
Yeah. So
man, what will DMC5 special edition be?
Yeah. So yeah, Virgil, Trish, and Lady
Dante.
were all added to the DMC4 special edition, and that's actually kind of brings me to a point that my one kind of complaint is that Lady and Trish were in this game and did nothing.
Yeah, I'd like to see them at least get added to Bloody
nothing
Palace.
except lose their clothes.
Yeah, they're like, and that was a bummer because I think they're really cool, and the fact that they had been added in as playable in the special edition of 4 made me think, oh, hey, they're going to have a bigger role come forward, and they're still basically just Bond girls that
I'm going to hold out
even less
hope
than Bond girls.
that somebody gets to do a like Devil May Cry Trish and Lady spinoff. Would be bad as fuck. But
yeah, and like the post-credit scene kind of seemed like it was setting something up. I would love to see something else with Trish and Lady.
Yeah.
So like that was kind of my one big bummer because they just were, hidden naked inside a couple bosses and then just hung out in the van.
Yeah,
that
and some
not at full strength.
That and some slightly wonky camera issues sometimes during fights were about my only real complaints about the game. Otherwise, I mean, I was blown away. I had a great time. I'm going to end up replaying it a couple times. I'm going to dig into Bloody Palace. I can't wait for it. I was very, very pleased with how 5 turned out.
Absolutely. Worth the wait.
Absolutely.
And I know for me, I know it's a point of contention, but I liked DMC a lot.
It was like a 8 out of 10.
The special edition is a much better game. Yeah, and it's a good game in its own right.
And I felt like, there were a couple nice aesthetic nods and kind of, a couple of the ways that Nero's moves felt like, especially the grapple and stuff, kind of felt like a bit of a nod to some of the DMC stuff, which I appreciated.
And I think like Dante's EX color is, I think, a reference. It feels like,
But I really, really liked this game. I'm super, super into it. I have not been able to play anything else since it came out.
And I'd say it's even not. It's relatively friendly for new people to jump into.
Yeah. I don't play many games that have this much mechanical depth, and like fighting games and stuff like that. This game to me is something I'm going to play a ton because it just feels so good to play, and I want to keep getting better. And it's really rare that games come out that hit me like that.
The announcer is one of the best announcers in any game. Like, like I'm comparing it to comparing it to like fighting game announcers and online FPS announcers like Unreal Tournament shit. The Devil May Cry 5 announcer is right up there with all of them.
He's so good.
Like every time you get a new style rank, like he builds the hype.
Yeah.
And the way the music gets mixed in,
as your style increases,
as your styles goes up, and then when you hit the S ranks,
chorus time,
the chorus
let's go.
explodes. Like, just everything about this game feels really satisfying. I love the style. My complaints were, Trish and Lady didn't do much, and then a lot of the levels were very samey. And
it is destroyed city streets.
Yeah,
with
entire
weird
game
gray
is
vines.
Destroyed city streets.
Yeah,
it's a lot of gray. But
whereas even Devil May Cry 4 had a lot of churches you're going through, like all sorts of.
There's a forest and stuff in 4.
And there also there's like a jungle in 4.
But overall, this game was extremely good. Brandon, what are your final thoughts?
I loved it. Capcom is on a roll. Feels good with Resident Evil 2 recently, and so I hope Capcom just keeps giving us good fan servicey stuff in the future.
How many thumbs up, y'all?
2.
2? Is that the number that humans have? We good with that?
Yeah.
You can pull my devil trigger.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that's, I mean, we could go on about this for hours, but that's about, we'll just be retreading how much we love this game. Devil May Cry 5, fantastic. It's out on everything but the Switch at this point, and I think it's absolutely worth you looking into if you want to just feel like a badass. That's all I have to say. Agree? Disagree?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And then a good follow-up is Metal Gear Rising.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. That's the cigarette you smoke
If
afterwards.
you play Devil May Cry and you want some more, look towards Platinum.
Yes, absolutely. All right, thank you guys for joining us. We're going to hopefully do some more of these review discussions as time goes on and make this a more regular thing over written reviews. Thank you for listening or watching, depending on the outlet that you are on. That's all we got for today. Have a good one, y'all.